Here comes a guy who is so full of this new age stuff.
If they equate Cosmic Carlos with something that they don't understand because they're too much in the frequency.
When it comes to the 6-dot string, few names are as respected as this one. Who plays Carlos Santana? He brought Latin beats to rock and roll and made his Fender Stratocaster sing with fire and soul. For more than 50 years, this Mexican-American guitar genius has made some of the most famous guitar sounds in music history. It was built by a guy named Paul Reese-Smith. Like everyone else, he had a dream, but his dream was very real. Hey, this is Guitar Legends. We're going to learn a lot about Carlos Santana's personal collection of guitar gods today. The man who made hits like Black Magic Woman and Smooth has never been afraid to talk about the people who inspired and influenced him. Because he takes a spiritual approach to music and has a lot of respect for the guitar. He is one of the most thoughtful people who talk about how to learn it. Santana is said to have told Guitar Player magazine in 2018 that the guitar is a voice and every great guitarist has something different to say. He also said that these 5 players didn't just play notes, they channeled divine energy through their instruments. And for someone whose job it is to transfer divine energy, the decisions he makes are very important. Santana's list shows the wide range of artists that shaped his sound, from blues legends who influenced him in his youth to jazz innovators who opened up his musical views. Not only were these guitarists great at what they did, but they were also spiritual leaders who showed Carlos that the guitar could be used for more than just fun. So light some copal incense, tune your guitar to the frequency of the universe, and let's look at the 5 guitarists who shaped Carlos Santana's musical consciousness. His ideas might change the way you always hear the guitar and maybe even the way you live your life. 5. Mr. Wes Montgomery. Carlos puts jazz guitar great Wes Montgomery at number 5 on his list. According to Carlos, Montgomery's new way of playing the guitar opened up a lot of new possibilities for the young Santana. Carlos found Montgomery's music for the first time in the mid-1960s, when he was still working on his signature sound in San Francisco. Neil Schon, a guitarist who worked closely with Santana, says that Carlos would listen to Montgomery's records, the incredible jazz guitar and smoking at the half note for hours on end. Carlos would say, "Listen to how he makes every note count. No waste, no ego, just pure talk about music." In an interview in 2019, Sean talked about the things that really interested Santana about Montgomery were how he used octaves and thumb picking instead of a normal pick. Carlos allegedly told Downbeat magazine in 2015, "Wes showed me that the guitar could be an orchestra. He could play melody, harmony, and rhythm all at the same time and make it sound like the most natural thing in the world." This effect became even stronger when Santana started adding jazz parts to his Latin rock mix. Carlos is said to have developed his unique style by studying Montgomery's approach to chord voicings and melodic lines. "When I play a long sustained note, I'm thinking about what Wes taught me about making every note holy," Santana is said to have told his band while they were recording Abraesis. Montgomery had a big impact on jazz guitar, but Carlos thinks that Montgomery's gifts to music go far beyond jazz. Santana is said to have said during a master class at Berkeley that Wes Montgomery didn't just play jazz, he played joy. "I learned from him that mastering a skill doesn't mean anything without inner truth." Because Carlos Montgomery strikes the right balance between spiritual expression and technical mastery, an incredible guitarist who showed that skill is at its best when it touches people's hearts. 4th, we have Gabor Szabo, a Hungarian jazz guitarist, is said to have given Carlos a key musical blueprint for his own cross-cultural explorations through his unique approach to the guitar and desire to combine Eastern musical ideas with Western instruments. The music by Gabor Szabo is amazing and spellbinding. In the late 1960s, Santana heard Szabo's music through producer Clive Davis, who played him Szabo's record Dreams while they talked about Carlos's musical direction. Michael Shreve, Santana's longtime manager, says that Carlos was quickly struck by Szabo's use of modal scales and rare tunings. Carlos called me at 2 a.m. after hearing that record and said, "This guy is doing what I've been trying to figure out. He's making the guitar speak different languages," Shreve remembered. For Santana, it was especially interesting how Szabo mixed Hungarian folk rhythms and Indian classical music ideas into jazz frameworks. Gabriella taught me how the guitar could bring people from different backgrounds together. Carlos is said to have told Rolling Stone in 2017, "You didn't have to pick between traditional music and new music," he showed. The relationship between the two musicians grew stronger when they reportedly met at a club in Los Angeles in 1969. Jazz journalist Leonard Feather said that Szabo told the young Santana, "Your guitar already knows how to cry in Spanish. Now teach it to laugh in other languages too." It looks like Carlos remembered the advice all through his work. Szabo's impact can be heard in all of Santana's work, especially in the way he uses scales that sound like they were written in Asia and builds tension with repeated hypnotic phrases. "I use skills when I play Europa or Samba Pi. Gabor taught me how to make the guitar sound peaceful." Carlos is said to have told Guitar World in 2020, "In Santana's mind, Szabo is an example of fearless musical discovery that goes beyond limits. An artist on the guitar who showed that being real means recognizing all of your influences instead of sticking to just one." 3. Moving up to number 3 is B.B. King, who is known as the King of the Blues. Carlos Santana is said to have gotten his emotional foundation for playing the guitar from B.B. King's emotional honesty and masterful vibrato style. Carlos saw B.B. King play for the first time at the Fillmore West in San Francisco in 1967. He said it was the most important event of his life. Music, after hearing B.B. play his first note, I knew the guitar was more than just an instrument. It was a voice for everything you couldn't say in words. Santana is said to have told blues expert Robert Palmer it was like Lucille King's guitar was crying, laughing, teaching, and praying at the same time. King's idea that one note can say more than 1,000 words had a big impact on Santana. Greg Raleigh, a former member of Santana, says during recording sessions, Carlos would often talk about this idea. He would ask us, "Are you playing notes or saying something?" in the middle of a solo. B.B. showed me the difference. Raleigh was honored in a 2018 film. Over the years, the two musicians' friendship turned into a deep respect for each other. Santana was told by King backstage at a show in 1995. "You changed what I do so it speaks Spanish. That looks great, brother." The guitar tech for Santana says Carlos loved this comment and would bring it up when talking about how he did maintain and vibrato BB. Santana's use of long guitar lines that sound like crying and his focus on emotional expression over technical flash may be the most obvious ways that King influenced him. BB showed me that the soul lives in the space between the notes. In 2019, Carlos is said to have told students at a guitar clinic, "When I bend a string, I'm trying to reach that sacred space he taught me about." For Santana, B.B. King represents the raw emotional power of the blues. He is a lesson that all technical skill must serve the higher purpose of connecting people and expressing spirituality. Number 2. I'm John McLaughlin. John McLaughlin, a pioneer in fusion music, comes in second place. His lightning-fast technical skills and spiritual approach to music are said to have pushed Carlos Santana to new heights of virtuosity and awareness. When they met in the early 1970s, both guitarists were interested in how rock, jazz, and Eastern thought could be combined in music. Santana was apparently enthralled by McLaughlin's work with Miles Davis and his own Mahav Vishnu Orchestra. He saw in the British guitarist a like-minded soul seeking transcendence through music. Bill Malowski, an expert on jazz fusion, says that the two guitarists met for the first time at a spiritual retreat in the mid-1970s. They became close because they both liked meditation and Eastern thought. Carlos told me that getting to know John was like adding a singing brother. They both knew that technical mastery was just the beginning, Malkowski wrote. Spiritual growth was the real goal. What really impressed Santana about McLaughlin was his ability to blend very quick skill with a strong spiritual goal. Carlos is said to have told Guitar Player in 2016 that John showed me that speed and soul aren't opposites. When he plays those impossibly fast runs, he's not showing off, he's channeling divine energy at light speed, Carlos said. Because they influenced each other, they worked together on the 1973 album Love, Devotion, and Surrender, where they used their guitars to study the teachings of Guru Sri Chinmoy. Making that record with John taught me that two guitars could create something bigger than either player could achieve alone. Santana is said to have told his biographer, "We weren't competing, we were communicating." Because of McLaughlin, Santana had to learn more technical words while keeping his emotional heart. I was reminded by John's playing that skill is at its best when it's used to spread love. During an interview in 2020 honoring the guitarist's 80th birthday, Carlos is said to have said for Santana, McLaughlin is the right mix of Eastern spirituality and new ideas in Western music. That the guitar can be both a useful tool for learning and a way to grow spiritually. One Jimi Hendrix, the cosmic innovator, is Carlos Santana's favorite musician of all time. Jimi Hendrix, whose innovative use of the electric guitar is said to have shown Carlos that the instrument could open up a world of musical options. I asked, "Where are you going?" Santana saw Hendrix's power for the first time at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967. At the time, neither artist was well known, but they were about to change music forever. Carlos is said to have told Rolling Stone in a 2017 cover story, "Watching Jimi set his guitar on fire that night, I realized I was seeing the future of rock and roll. Jimi didn't just play the guitar, he became one with it and through it with the universe itself." Hendrix's use of feedback, distortion and effects as musical parts instead of just sound textures really changed Santana's way of doing things. Carlos, Santana's experienced sound engineer, says that he spent months after Monterey trying out different amplifier settings to capture that Hendrix magic. Jimi taught Carlos that the amp is part of the instrument. The whole set has to sing at the same time. The engineer said, "It had an impact that went beyond technical innovation and into philosophical transformation." It is said that Santana got the idea to mix genres from Rise's fearless experimentation and desire to push the limits. Jimi showed that there are no rules when you're connecting with God. Carlos is said to have told his band before they recorded Aburashi, "It's good music if it feels good mentally." Santana will always remember the short time they spent together as friends before Hendrix died in 1970. Charles S. H. Murray, a music journalist, says that Dr. Dre told Carlos backstage at a concert, "Keep pushing the boundaries, brother. The guitar wants to take us somewhere we haven't thought of yet." This advice is said to have been the basis for Santana's whole career. Even after many years, Santana still talks about how Hendrix influenced him. "Every time I plug in my guitar, I honor what Jimi started," he is said to have said during his speech at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony in 2019 honoring Hendrix. He showed us all how the electric guitar could be used as a spiritual instrument to get close to God. Just for Carlos Santana, Jimi Hendrix is the best example of how new technology can be used to make art. Spiritual searching and daring art making the guitarist who showed that magic can happen when you give in to the music totally. This is it. Carlos Santana's 5 favorite musicians who helped shape his sound, from blues masters to fusion pioneers. Each of these guitarists gave Carlos something important to his cosmic guitar philosophy. Pick the one of these famous stars that makes you feel the most. Tell us what you think in the space below.